DRC. So here's what it came with. We got, this is the tail light assembly. It's specifically made for the CRF250L. It has 4 mounting holes that use the stock holes. The tail light itself comes with the tail light, a little bracket assembly, kind of a mud flap, kind of a bracket piece. Some screws for that bracket and some wire connectors. What I also got along with this is a stock plug, so that I can just plug it into the factory harness. I don't have to cut my old light. I can just use this guy here, plug it right in, take it down and off. Say if I want to go back to the factory one, it'll be just quick plug and play. No rewiring or cutting of wire, so that's good. And of course the instructions, I guess I'll use those this time. But it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to use this mostly for the wiring diagrams. 602 LED flashers to put on the back as well, to replace the stock ones. Because I'm going all LED, I've also got the 12 o'clock labs turn signal fixed rate flasher. That should be a pretty easy swap in and out. So the CRF250 has running lights on the front. The front turn signals stay lit all the time. And when you do this setup, it basically takes that functionality away. So I got these, which is basically put that back into function. So this is where I order from, which was soloracer.com. They carry a lot of parts for the CRF250. Oh, yeah, I got these little brackets. These are to mount the turn signals to your triple clamp. I may not even use these as well, but they were fairly cheap. Of course, everything is made in China. Hate having to get stuff made in China, but you know what? You can't help it sometimes. You get my handy dandy opening device. Buck knife, made in America. Here's the lights. Kind of like them. They're not too small. I didn't want to get some of those little tiny ones you can't see. But there's a pretty standard application of motorcycle light. Yep, those are instructions. Some more mounting hardware, wiring stuff, a couple little filler pieces. I really like these waterproof connectors. I got a whole big bag of them, but I'm glad they provided them. That's a good quality connector. Just needs maybe a little bit of dielectric grease. You shove it in there to keep it from corroding. All right, so there's one set of lights. All right, this guy here, which is, I'll show you this more detail. So as you can see, that mounts onto the 2 bolts that mount the triple clamp on the top, and then you put the light mounted in there. It comes with a little spacer. Fixed rate turn signal flasher. Stickers are always good. Something for the fridge or the toolbox. Connector, I guess in case you have to manually wire it in. Hopefully the stock one, that fits the stock connector, I would hope. So the fixed rate flasher covers up, or is back behind the panel that covers up where the horn is and the radiator reservoir overflow. That's pretty straightforward. This, on the other hand, if I can get it open without messing up the bag, whatever. Who cares? I'm not saving this bag anyways. Alright, I don't know why they don't do this for you. It's like, here's all this stuff, now put it together. Boink. Better make sure I get this right. Next, red. The picture's not in color, but at least it tells you what colors need to be on what. So hopefully you're not colorblind when you do this kind of stuff. So red is next. There you have it. So now you just connect this light to these, plus your turn signals. This plugs right into the stock plug. So I think that's plenty wire. These lights would effectively mount in these holes here. If you can see that, it came with these adapters that are short and tall, angled, and then 2 flat ones. So in case you're mounting these on a fender or somewhere else, that hopefully will make your light set straight. In this case, I'm going to use the straight ones because the light is mounting to a flat look. Also, this is typical red and black, red positive, black ground, so that's pretty simple to figure out. As you can see, I'm referencing the instructions at all times. There you go. So there's what one side of the light's going to look like. All right, next I want to take this light apart because I want to do some waterproofing on it. Good thing is the light's pretty simple to take off, and so there's a bracket without the light on it. Pretty well made bracket. They make this specific for the CRF230 or 250, which is really nice. And this opening here where the wires go through, that's what I'm worried about because this is at the back of the bike. Mud and water and everything sling, and it's going to go into that hole. Also around the edge here, I don't think it's sealed up because my previous light filled up with water as well, and it didn't have anywhere to go. Once it goes into the top, it just pulls down in there, and it was bad for it. So it's good to have some way for the water to weep or drain out. All right, let's see what we got here. Pops off pretty easy. Just like I thought. If you look at this light cover, you can see there's a little lip all the way around, but there's no seal, no rubber gasket of any kind on the light housing or this portion as well. But you can see the lights. They're LEDs. They light up. I suppose they light up white, and because of the red lens, it makes it red. And then you have, I don't know if you see that, some little LEDs at the bottom there. Those are for the license plate light. Someone sells a kit that replaces this whole light assembly in this particular DRC light. I think it's, I don't remember who, maybe it's 12 O'Clock Labs that does that too. Right? Now, should be able to kind of push this through a little bit. There we go. So now I can see all this, I can see this hole, and I could put some RTV in there. That would seal it up pretty good. I do have a big tube of dielectric grease that I can use, which might be the best way, but that'll wash out over time. But I want to be able to take this lens off if I need to, and I don't want it to be stuck on. So the decision's been made for me because here's my RTV, and it's old, and it's all solid. So I won't be using that trash. Here's my dielectric grease, just like grease that, it almost looks like Vaseline, but it's a little more thicker and less water soluble than Vaseline. All right, so I'm going to kind of line this whole edge of this whole thing. You can get this at any auto parts store. Just ask or look in the, the place where they have tubes of stuff, and you'll see something called dielectric grease. It's basically, it's safe for electronics or electrical stuff, keeps water off of them, helps it keep from corroding, keeps the air out of it, the water out of it, makes it last a lot longer, more reliable, all your connections. All right, what I've done is I took my big tube that was almost empty and I squished out all the dielectric grease that I had left in it into this little jar here. And I'm going to use this little screwdriver. It's kind of a putty knife. I want to put some dielectric grease right here on this connector. Not connector, but right here where this wire goes through. Screw it back together, pull the wire through, and hopefully that's going to help seal up that little spot there. See, all my dielectric grease is down in here. I'm hoping when I pull this wire through, it's going to make a pretty good seal back here. See, I pull that through like that. These wires. Whenever I get new parts, I always like to take them apart first. In the shop, not riding. So there's a little tip for you. If you find you can't get a screw to stay on a screwdriver, put a little grease or something on there, just enough to kind of give it some tackiness. That helps. It's better than gum. It didn't pull through as much as I wanted it to. I'm going to go ahead and pack this in from the back side. I'm packing in the grease from the backside. All right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to line the entire edge of this with that dielectric grease. So it's basically just like that. Yeah, I suppose you could do this with RTV, which would be a more permanent kind of a fix. This will make it so I can take this light off if I need to, the cover, if it breaks or whatever. I just need to replace the lens. Now, this light goes back on. It's going to seat down in that stuff. I might go ahead and spread some around this guy here just to make sure doubly, because I got plenty here. That's good. See, I've kind of coated the whole inside of that, so that when I put this guy on, it kind of makes a little grease barrier. See how it all squishes out? And now all this here can just be wiped away, all this excess. Save that for later. There we go. This will clean up really nice. That should repel the water very well. I'll see how that works. If I start to still get water in my light, what I'll end up doing is, because it's going to set on the bike like this being the top and this being the bottom, this being the lowest point, if any water gets in it, it'll collect in this little tip here. So what I'll do is I'll put a little drain hole right in there. Alright, so I have some Loctite here. It's red Loctite, but I'm going to just put a teensy little bit. And even though this has a lock washer, I put the tiniest little dab of red Loctite on there. Alright, there we go. That's what it looks like. I need to measure this. In my state, there's a law that these signals need to be a certain distance from each other. But, my buck knife is probably, I don't know. Oh, here. Piece of paper. That's 8 inches. So that's just inside of 8 inches at the beginning, but the outside part, from the outside tip to the outside tip, is probably a foot, because this is 11 inches wide.